Hey, good morning. So today we are gonna do Katsuki from My Hero Anime. We did Froggy yesterday and we did a few others this week. So if you haven't checked those out, go look at the past videos and you'll get to do those lessons too. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, give me a follow on Instagram, and let's get going on the lesson. All right, so to start, we're gonna do his hair because it kind of goes right over the top of his head. So the main shape of his hair is actually a circle. So you just draw a circle just like that. I'm gonna have his hair kind of go outside the lines a little. So just like that, kind of a basic circle. And then his head kind of comes down through the bottom of his hair. So I'm gonna do kind of this, his forehead curves like that, and then his nose just like that. His nose is kind of like this little beginning of a triangle, and then we'll just go down like that. Mouth, and we're doing a profile one today because usually I don't do profile ones, not because I don't want to, I just don't normally do that. So we're gonna mix it up today. So bring it down, and then his lip will continue this direction down into the chin, and then over, and his chin is relatively thin. It's going to come up, something like that. And then when we get to right about here, curve up to where his ear is. His ear is kind of a basic one, pointed on the top, down, like that. And so if you've got the size of the hair right, it should basically look like this, where he's got like a huge head up there. Then you know you probably got it right. So we can follow the shape of the circle now, and we can kind of do the hair. So the hair, it basically is kind of like some mountaintops. So I'm gonna draw one line like this, and then draw another one like that. Then we'll go in with a spike, and then up, it's a bit higher, and then in and up. So it kind of looks like a mountain. All right, and then we'll kind of do a similar thing right through here. So go down, go up, down again, up, down, and then we're going to just bring this up like that. And then over here, similar thing. So this one I'm going to just down, up. So we're essentially doing spikes. His hair's, of course, very, very spiky. But like the other drawings that we've done, we don't want the hair to be like identical in different areas, and so each one of these spikes, which this one, it's kind of like doing little miniature mountains, we want them all to be a bit different. So I'm just doing these spikes, and the main thing is following this following the circle. So my circle kind of comes right down here. I want to follow it so that it doesn't look wrong. Doesn't look wrong or weird. Okay, I'm gonna go right over the top of the ear, up, and like that. Okay, let's keep going. So down on here, I'm gonna go below his earlobe and just do another spike. And again, we're just doing spikes back and forth over the top of each other. So you'll notice I've got lines that kind of overlap all over the place. So with his hairstyle, that's how it's supposed to look. I hope it's how it's supposed to look. We're about to find out in a minute if it looks right or completely off. So, like that. And go up and add a little secondary one. Again, I want it to be different. And last one before we start turning that. Now I want to turn in, so I'm going to go up, but I'm not going to go as far. And we'll go like this, and in. Then we're going to kind of change direction. And as we change direction, I guess I'll bring it kind of like this. And then like that. Just like that. So I want it to start turning the spikes that way. Let me make that a little thicker. All right, let's go back to the forehead here. So over here, we're gonna follow this right up here with a similar thing with spikes. So go here, that. Let's go right on through, just like that. Making sure that this looks like I want it to. Look at this chin. Not as far as a drop. There we go. Alright, not get sidetracked. We'll go back over here to the hair. So let's see in the hair. Up. Just like that. Up. And down. Little spikes. Black one. Like that. And let's add a couple in the middle. Just because we're gonna come back and add those. That. Maybe this. Alright. So we've got his hair. We've got his general face with his eye. We really are only going to see one of the eyes, so we're going to come down like this and up. And we'll make that line just a little thicker because that's going to be the eyebrow. And then right down here, we're just going to go down a tiny bit, curve over and up. There. With his pupil right there. And that's it. Really simple on that. Let's get his neck and torso in here. So the neck is going to start, if the ear is here, the neck is going to start just behind right about here. And we're just going to go straight down like that. And with the chin kind of coming over it will make it line up, and we'll just kind of come over like that. Okay. And then over here, I'm gonna just curve just slightly and down. And he has an Adam's apple, so curve in and then down. About like that. So essentially down, curve in, straight down, and then his collar is going to kind of go here, and his chest will continue like that. All right, and then over here, we'll just do the collar, so down, and just curve it right in. Like that. So go down his collarbone. Curve in like that. Collarbone over here. Pull that in. A line for his neck right here. And then let's just going over here. Arm comes over there because he's sleeveless. And down like that. All right, we're getting there. So I want to, because I've been goofing off with filters on Instagram, just because they're fun, especially with art. So I'm gonna kind of bring his other arm down over here, like that. I want to put fire in his hand, and then I'm gonna see if I can use a filter to kind of animate the fire. I just thought that would be cool. It might turn out, it might be a total failure, but it'll be fun regardless. So I'm gonna have his hand kind of just holding the fire out as he's not even like looking at it. So what we'll do is we're gonna do the thumb over here and then the fingers coming up over here. And hands are semi-difficult to do. So if you're looking for some like in-depth training on anatomy, hands, things like that, not to totally like plug my next book, but that's what I go into in major detail into my next book. Before I do that, I feel like his neck needs to be thicker. So we're gonna bring this just down like that and over. I feel like I gave him too thin of a neck for his character. Yeah, that looks better. So you hang around long enough, you'll see all my mistakes, and I'll usually try to fix them right in the middle. I don't edit them out because that's not real. Like, that's not really how it works. Okay, so I'm gonna do his forefinger first. That's gonna give me kind of the center of his hand. So let's go right up here where his neck meets with his shoulder. Just redo that. It's really dark. It's just supposed to be kind of a guide. There we go. Like that. Alright, so his finger. The finger, or the hands in general, the reason they're so difficult is because it's not because people can't just say, okay, I'm going to draw 4 fingers and 1 thumb, and that's it. Because most of the time when you draw them, they don't really turn out like you're expecting. And then people get frustrated and give up, and they never like spend time practicing hands. And generally like anatomy. But you can't spend all your time on faces. It's fun too, but If you never practice other stuff, you'll never get better at it. So, here's gonna be my forefinger, I think. Even now I look at it and I'm like, that's not great, but that's why we do this in pencil. So we're gonna have 3 sections. We've got the section up here with the nail, right in here, the middle section, and then the section that connects to the hand. And we'll just draw kind of a line right there, and we'll go into the middle finger. So middle finger, similar, but usually a little thicker. So same thing, same sections. This is where people get thrown off because they'll tend to say, okay, I'm gonna just draw the same thing, but they can't be identical. You make them identical and it looks weird. So there's no shortcuts. There's no trying to just quickly knock something out, copy exactly the look of one finger for the other, because if you do that, it's gonna be pretty obvious. So even looking at this, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't love this yet, but I'm gonna keep going because I like to give myself a bit of a chance to get it right, and then before I just start erasing and redoing. So let's do his ring finger. And the ring finger, I'm gonna just follow that clothing line that I just drew in there just for a guide. I'm gonna just follow it down. I'm gonna leave the nail behind there. I'm gonna add in some lines right where the knuckles are and the joints. I can kind of see. And then the pinky is just gonna be down even further back there. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. In here, that's gonna be kind of where his shirt goes. Actually, let's go like that. That way his collarbone can still go through, and that'll make sense. Okay, so now let's do another connecting point, and then we're gonna do his thumb. So with the thumb, it doesn't point the same direction as the other fingers. That's where a lot of people, it sounds like such a simple concept, but if the fingernails are on this side, thumbnail needs to be on the other side. So in this case, can't even see the thumbnail because it is behind. So the idea is it's supposed to look like he's got something in his hand right here. So I feel like that thumb needs to be just a little bit bigger. And I can't really tell you why. Sometimes it's just like after drawing for a while, you can kind of see like, okay, the proportions don't look quite right on it. So we'll just add in a little more like that, make it a little thicker. There we go. I'm pretty good with that. So I'm gonna make now this kind of fire look, and I'm gonna just kind of make it somewhat like the sun, like if you were gonna draw the sun, where it's circular, and I'm gonna go just like that. And it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how how it turns out, because essentially my goal is I'm gonna make that completely black and have it kind of, like have it kind of be a flame. That's the goal. We're gonna see how it looks. Hopefully it looks cool. Did I miss any details? I didn't do anything on the inside of the ear. Let's do that. Stuff like that. Anything else? I think that's good. think that's good to start with some of the ink. So I'm gonna come down here, get my thicker pen. That one, the tip is getting a little bit weary, so I'm gonna just start with the ear. And just come down and stop like that. I'm just doing all the major lines. Yeah, that works. Don't want to connect these two, so I'm gonna just come up and stop just like that. Should we do the hair down? Might as well. We're up here. So we'll go. Yeah, I want that over the top. So we'll go like that. And I'm just gonna follow my pencil. Keep my lines straight. And we're gonna just have some fun. Don't have to follow exactly what you did, like with the pencil, but it should act as a guide. Otherwise, it's kind of like, why do you spend all that time on pencil work if you're gonna just ignore it and go straight to the marker? Some people may be able to just freehand draw with marker and have it just look awesome. I like to use the pencil because oftentimes I either change my mind or it just doesn't look right. Okay. I'm gonna turn this just a little so that I can kind of get a bit better of an angle doing these. Just basically make it smooth around my hand and up to there. Okay, and same thing over here, just smooth lines, smooth, straight, following my pencil, up and down. At this point in the drawing, oftentimes it can look and feel like you're drawing a coloring book because you've got such dark, solid, no detail lines. That's fine. That's fine. That's how it should look. I'm gonna jump to the fingers because those are gonna be right at the top. So I don't want to accidentally go over the top of them. I don't like stick with a specific, hey, I have to do this in this order because I am human like everybody else. And so I know that I can possibly go right over the top of something because I'm just yakking and not paying attention. There is no trick to getting smooth with ink or with marker. It is literally just practice. Practice, practice, practice. Okay. I'm gonna do the inside with my pen that's not so thick. Go down, do the shoulder, that. Go right through there because, again, this fire is going to be a dark fire, and hopefully it looks awesome. We're happy to see. So like that. I'll do the bottom of the shirt, it kind of flows right through there. Like that. I think that's, there we go. Sometimes I'm just following the line. I can't remember why I do something with a pencil, but I'm in the marker zone. So let's see, why did I do that? Is this right here is going to be the shirt, and up here will be the shirt, and like that's the sleeve, and then his arm kind of goes through there. All right, last of all, I'm gonna just do this border. Just gonna follow this. And follow this through. This side. Probably can hardly see it on the video, but there is a pencil line right there. And just drop that down to about there. All right. So far so good. Let's get our ink pen out. And go with my thicker ink pen, and let's just do a few details. So, for instance, his ear. Go like that. A little bit in there, down. Easy peasy. His mouth keeps going just a little. I just didn't want to use the big thick marker and not be able to taper. The nails. So basically everywhere where there's still pencil, I'm going to use this somewhat thicker ink pen, but not marker, to do those. I'm going to add some creases to his clothing there. Let's see, on the hair, there's a couple of these that are supposed to have lines right through. Let's do his eye. So it's going to curve like that. A thicker eyebrow. Like that. No? And like that. Pupil just completely dark. We'll add a little line on the bottom of his eye like that. So his eye is real simple. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's see, what else? What else are we missing? Oh, I didn't do his collarbone. That line on the neck, this collarbone over here. I think these other pencil marks are just there for guides. I'm pretty sure that's good. This feels a little empty over here. I'm gonna make it a little thicker because I think that would have been one I would have added with the marker. Any of these lines that aren't smooth, these, I'm gonna just do that. All right, let's see. I think that's it for the thicker pen. So it's coming along. Let's go back to the marker for a second. I want to fill in where this fire is gonna go. I'm hoping this whole like dark fire thing is gonna turn out cool. We shall find out, huh? So fill this in. And I probably am not gonna do anything else completely dark. Maybe one or two shadows, but I always like to have one part of my picture completely darked out. It's just kind of fun. It mixes it up. It doesn't keep it totally consistent. And it just adds that little element of coolness. I know that totally dates me saying coolness. I'm sure there's probably other words to use now. I am almost 40, so I guess I talk like a 40-year-old, huh? Alright, that's okay. My kids tell me all the time. That's not cool anymore, Dad. You don't say it like that. You don't even say that in general. That's what you think. Okay. So there's kind of our little flame or spark that's gonna come out of his hand. Let's just do a little shadow like that. Nothing major. I just want a couple other dark spots. And I think that's good on that. So with my other pen, let's just add in a few kind of thicker shaded things. So I'm gonna do a line like that, and then just a few spaced out lines there. Down below here, a line like this, and then essentially we're gonna just bring down a few right there. And lines like that. Let's see. I think I'm gonna switch to my smaller pen now, so that we can do some like detailed lines. So the smaller one, we're gonna add in some shading. So I'm gonna do just straight lines. I'm gonna go right across and do a shadow of the hair right underneath. Right here, I'm gonna do a shadow. It goes just like that to basically show that the hair is up kind of above. Let's add in a couple here. So same kind of spikes, but in shadow form, and in shadow form, it's just line work. Let's do the inside the ear, just like that. And I'm gonna do most of his neck as kind of a shadow. So I'm gonna go right underneath the jaw here, a little bit into it, and I'm gonna come right on through. And the idea is consistent lines all the way across. And essentially, I don't want the whole thing as a shadow, but I want most of it as a shadow. So I'm gonna just come right across like that, kind of shade that in. And this is gonna be a bit darker as well. So, but I don't want it completely dark because I don't want it to blend all the way with that. So I'm gonna just come through like this with straight lines all the way through where his clothes are. Just like that. And let's cross-hatch his clothing. And I'm not gonna cross-hatch the whole thing. I'm gonna kind of go just like that. All right. And then we'll do the same down here, because this is the same part of the shirt. And up here. Just like that. I am going to completely cross-hatch down there. All right. Cool, cool. And I think, any other thicker lines I want to do? I think That's it for thick lines. Let's go to our last pen. And the last pen is my thinnest one. And I'm gonna just do some last shadows on him. So again, just consistent lines in the areas that you want shadows. So like his finger, each one of his fingers are supposed to set kind of behind the other finger. So I actually want them to shade and progressively get either smaller depending on which side you're on. So on this side it'll be a little bigger. And then right in the middle, I'm gonna just keep going down all the way to get this shade effect all the way through. Okay, right here, right down the center. That way, it's like over here, it covers the whole thing. On these, it's gonna just give us an effect that we have some shade going on. Just like that. I'll do a little bit of shading on the thumb here. That'll be it on that. Let's add, let's see, oh, you know what? I forgot part of his shirt. Can't do that. I was like, what is this part right here? So, right here, go like that, and we'll go across. Just like that. That looks better. You guys probably saw it before I did. You're probably like, dude, you missed something. All right, let's see. Let's do some shoulder shading. I'm gonna just go right through there. What else? Maybe he's got some shading that just goes right over the top of his bicep right there. Why not? I think he has that. Okay, on his hair. So with the hair, each side of the hair is going to have some shade to it, and it kind of just depends on where the light is coming from. So on here, I'm going to draw some very light lines that are going to match up like that. And then I'm going to just come through and do some shading all the way through this part of the hair to add in a shadow. So I wanted to add kind of those light lines so I know where to stop and have it still look like spikes. Just keep going right on through. Just like that. All right, that gives us kind of a darker look right back here. Still gives us the spiky look. And that's good, I like it. All right, let's add just to the bottom of some of these, some shadows. So I just need to give his hair some dimension. And so I'm gonna just add to some of these some shadows that come right on through the hair. And essentially give me that look. All right, come down here. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some shadows on these too. This one I'm going to completely shadow in because it's kind of in the background back there. So we'll do half of that one. Go right through there. We'll just keep on going. Right on through. Just like that. Just picking a side that I want and or think my shadow is coming from. And I'm committed to it. All right, that's looking kind of cool. I think. So now I'm kind of at a point where I want to just kind of look at it and see, am I missing anything? I think I'm pretty darn close to done. I'm gonna erase some of these pencil lines. And I'm gonna probably add just a little bit to the border with my ink pen, just so I can kind of see that grunge look that I really like. If the lines are too clear, too precise, then I don't like it as much. Just my own personal style preference. So I'm gonna go back to kind of my middle one. And I'm gonna just go right around the edge of some of these and just make the lines more imperfect, less crystal clear, I guess. Especially on the hair. The hair, I can just bring it right through. Don't have to do it on everyone, but essentially just adding some of this is gonna make it like I want. If you haven't, make sure you give me a subscribe. You know how YouTube works. Subscribes are free. If you get disappointed in what I'm doing, you're like, this is no longer for me, all you gotta do is unsubscribe. There's like no risk. So the reason I ask you to subscribe is because if you want to see new lessons, that's kind of the best way to get notified, because you'll get, hopefully, you should get like an email or something from YouTube that says, hey, there's a new video out. But if not, when you're kind of browsing on YouTube, I think it'll just show up. So give the channel a subscribe if you haven't. And then on Instagram, I'm on Instagram. I don't post much on Facebook. But yeah, on Instagram, my handle is Joseph Allen Stevenson, A-L-A-N. So if you haven't followed on there, then do that too. I'm just kind of going through, adding a little bit of detail, a little bit of grunge, a little, you know, making the lines not so exact. So yeah, give me a follow on those different channels. I appreciate it. And last of all, if you don't know, I do have drawing books out. And if you go to josephstevenson.com, you can check those out. I've got links on there that'll take you to my Amazon page. And that way you can check those out. I think we're good. I think I'm good with that. I like it. So thanks for hanging out. This finishes up our My Hero Academia week. That's it. I think we're gonna move on to something different next week. I don't even know what yet. So if you have any requests, let me know. If you're watching this video a long time from now, then check out my other ones. I kind of do different themes on different weeks, and you never know what I'm gonna draw. And I did this kind of fire thing, or this little kapow, because I'm planning on trying out some filter on Instagram. So go check that post out and see what you think. So, all right, let's sign it. I don't want to overdo this thing. So I'm gonna just sign it right here in the corner. And we're done. So thanks again for hanging out, and I will see you in the next lesson.